my inky friends, it's Cindy Lynn with My Inky Fingers. Thank you so much for joining me today on my YouTube channel and blog for how to make our things stick to that brother mat once and for all, and how to cut our images once and for all. Now, I am going to help prevent you from doing what I did and falling down that notorious YouTube rabbit hole and coming across tons and tons of videos who say,
use this, use that, clean this, stick that, cut this, use this mat, incorporate that mat, print this, tape that.
It's an overload and it's way too complicated. I am going to show you the absolute simplest way to get your images to stick to your mat. And even if you have taken your mat and scrubbed it clean and followed some of those tutorials only to find that it doesn't stay sticky, you're okay. You can still use that mat. All you're going to need is obviously your brother machine, your mat, and some images. So I have colored up these images, and there's a bunch of little marks. I color all around my paper when I'm coloring, but if you watch my videos, you know that in my studio, Aleenes Tacky spray is a staple. This is all you're going to need to stick your images to your mat once and for all, and I'm going to show you how unbelievably easy this is. Now, disclaimer, I can hear everybody going crazy in the comments already. This doesn't bother me. I have an open window. Sometimes I put my fan on, sometimes I don't. Sometimes the window's closed, sometimes it's not. I only spray a little bit and it doesn't bother me. There's a flammable hazard on it. It is poison. If you are sensitive to scents or toxic things like that, definitely go down to your garage, your outside, your basement, wherever you want to go. But for me, I'm totally okay. Now, all I'm going to do is just spray very lightly, a little bit on each image, and I'm just going to go across it. And that's all I need, just the littlest of little bits. Now, you see me use this to glue a lot of die cuts and things on my cards and other projects, but it won't stick permanently to your brother mat. Now, let's turn our brother mat around. And mine is relatively new, you guys, and it was not sticky very soon into owning it. So I came up with this little hack, and I couldn't wait to share it with you guys. I'm going to stick this here. I turned it around because I want this little triangle facing that way. My machine will not take this mat without the triangle facing that way. So if you're getting that unrecognized mat error, make sure your triangle faces that way. Now, we're going to go put this through the machine, and I'm going to show you very easily how to get these cut. Okay, just a quick tip for you guys. I happen to use a jewel picker rather than this cheap thing that Brother gives you, stylus, whatever you want to call it. I put that in the drawer. I never use it. I like this one. I'll put one on the screen for you guys because it's got a nice little wax tip on it, and I find that I'm able to touch my screen quite easily. So what we're going to do here is we've got our images taped down to our mat. Now what we want to do is we want to create a scan, and we're going to do a direct cut scan. And we're going to do it from the Brother machine, not online. Now here, you can change your scanned area. You can change it from 12 by 6 to 12 by 12. I leave it on 12 by 6 because I'm only using the top half of the mat, so there's no reason to scan anything larger than that. Now, once you've selected your scan area, here's the most important part here. These images I have are colored. So your machine will probably be sitting on this black and white, and what it's going to do is look for black and white image. My image isn't black and white. My image is color, so I want to go into the RGB. That's red, blue, green. That's the RGB mode there, and I'm going to press OK. Now, the start button will not light up because I've not loaded my mat, so let's do that now. Now I can start my scan. Alright, now my scan is complete. I can see my images here. And what I want to do is I want to bring this in even more so that I'm reducing the size of the area that the ScanNCut is working with. Okay, I also go down a little bit right there. So that's pretty good. And one of the things I like about this is when you're getting in really close, you can roll this back and forth, as you can see there, and you can get in those tight little spaces that you want to get into. So that's another reason why I like using the jewel picker. So now it's going to do its recognition. All right, now here is where a lot of people are running into trouble. First thing you're going to want to do is go into your ignore object size. I know that my objects are about between 2¼ and 2½ inches. So I'm going to move this up really high to about that area until I'm going to click the plus just until I see these two girls disappear. And there, they disappeared. So anything at 2.40 and below, it will ignore. So if I minus it, it goes down to 2.36. That's the size there of the two girls that I've colored. So I'm going to click OK. Now, this here is very, very important. You're smoothing. This is the difference between those choppy squared lines and the nice smooth lines that you get with a die cut. So I like to put this all the way up to the max right there. Preview, it's going to recognize, and there's my images. And I'm having a hard time seeing because I'm so far away, so I'm going to trust that what I've done is right. Now you go, okay, processing. Now here, another important part. You can edit here if you like, and now if you have any little other areas, when you press this arrow, it goes through all the things it's going to cut, and as you can see, it's only giving me the two. If you have another object here that you want to get rid of, this would be where you would go and you would press the garbage can, and when it was selected, and that would dump that image for you. But these I don't want to dump, so I'm good. Now here, this is the last most important. This here is the distance between the outer edge of your image and the amount that you're going to tell the machine to cut, which should always be on 0.04 for stamps if you want it to look like it has been die cut. So now I'm going to go OK, OK, it's going to process, and that is an outline of what my images are going to cut. Now I got in and looked up close, and it actually has removed the flowers here off this girl. So I'm going to take her and I'm going to remove her, and I'm going to press OK. I want to delete her. OK. Now I've only got the one there. There she is. And now I am going to select a cut, and I'm going to do cut. Now there is test here. I'm not sure if this pretend cuts. I don't know what it does. I should probably go and check that out at some point. But I'm on cut. I can still go in and change this if I've selected the wrong thing. And now I'm going to press start. Now from here, what I like to do, I'm going to press OK, but I'm going to press the home because I'm completely done with these images. This one, it didn't scan my little flowers, so I'm going to reposition it. I may even go in and retrace where I colored, make it a little bit darker. So I'm going to press home to cancel everything off. OK, unload my mat. Now from here, I'm going to show you how simple this is. You're going to take and remove your outer piece here, and now you're left with your die. And what I like to do is curl the mat back a little bit so that I get this little opening here so that I can gently go. I would normally do this on my workstation, but I've moved my camera here for you guys. So now I've got this little image, okay? Now I'm going to reposition her. Okay, so I've repositioned her here. I'm going to load her back in the machine. And I just want to make a point of pointing out, a lot of people might be wondering and asking themselves why I don't tape this square down. If I put tape around the edge of the actual image, what happens is, as the machine is going around these lines and cutting it, once it gets to a point where it can come out, the image inside will pop out and the machine will then cut into it because it's already recognized where it's cutting. So it does create quite a bit of problems. You don't want to do that. So now that I've repositioned her, I'll go through this one more time. We're going to do a scan, and we're going to do a direct cut. And here we're going to do it from the machine. Now here's where you press your options. I will come back here and I will go to a black and white if it doesn't pick this up this time. It's not very often that it doesn't pick it up, but I'm going to leave it as is. I haven't colored it in. I didn't change the color on the stems of the flowers. Okay, so I will again go in and shrink my image, press OK, and it has in fact not picked up my flowers again. So I'm going to go back to home, and I'm going to scan direct cut from the machine, and I'm going to change this to black and white. So now I'm going to go okay. And now, as you can see, because I'm on black and white, it's picked up literally everything on the mat. So I'm going to go in as close as I can to her. And then I'm going to ignore object size. And I'll do the same thing I did before. And I know that that's way too high. Okay, so I'm back down at the 2.36. I'm going to go okay. And then I am going to smooth. And I have to reset the smooth because we went to the home. Now I've completed all of that. I'm going to go okay. And then I'm going to select the 0.04 edging around the image. And then okay. And now it looks like it's going to cut my flowers out for me. So I'm going to select cut. And we're going to go start. So one of the things you want to remember here is when you scan your image, if you're having a hard time picking up the colors, then change it to RGB. If you're having a hard time in RGB finding all of the flowers, and actually as a matter of fact this one, it did cut out one of my flowers. Let's see what it did on when we cut it on black and white. So I'm going to unload my mat, okay, and I'm going to remove the outer. And then I'll curl my mat just so that I can get underneath my image here. There we go. And again, normally I would do this on my workspace, but I have my camera over here. And I would keep this curled as I'm removing it. And this one I had put a little bit more adhesive on it because we came in a second time. But here, as you can see, it did cut out everything perfectly for me. So again, if you're having a problem finding all of the image on RGB, cut it on the black and white or vice versa. Now, just a quick disclaimer, these images will be tacky on the back. They're not tacky enough that you would want to stick them onto your finished project forever because you have compromised the stickiness basically by putting it on the mat and whatnot. If you leave this out, it will dry and it will no longer be tacky, but you can put your adhesive on this and then you can put it on your project. Or if you wanted to put dimensionals, you would put your dimensionals on the back here and then take a little paintbrush with some cornstarch or baby powder. I prefer baby powder not only because it smells like nice, but because it's not quite as light and it doesn't end up all over my workspace. But I can take that paintbrush, and if I put baby powder everywhere around where I put the dimensionals, that will make it not sticky anymore. So a little bit of a sticky image I am totally willing to put up with for the fact that I now have a forever re-sticky mat. So there you have it. Now you can cut any of your stamped images on your brother mat. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. So let me know what you're going to be cutting out next. And until I see you again, take care and happy stamping.